Beloved, today I want to share with you a bit of the ambiance that we have in our weekly contemplative worship service called Salah. It's a quiet space that invites us for reflection and prayer. One of the practices that we do is Lectio Divina, and what I want to share with you is the scripture reading of the Gospel of Mark. In Lectio Divina practice, it's a practice where you sit with scripture and you allow it to speak to you and allow the Spirit to meet you where you are. And I hope that you are able to do that when you read these particular verses. At once the Spirit sent him out into the wilderness, and he was in the wilderness 40 days, being tempted by Satan. He was with the wild animals, and angels attended him. In this practice, what you want to do is sit with it and capture any word or any phrase that sits with you, and just allow it to speak with you in your prayer time, your time of silence or your time of reflection. That's what Lectio Divina does. In his book, Sensing God by Lawrence Freeman, he speaks about the wilderness, and he describes it as so. The 40 days and nights of Lent are about simplification, purification, getting priorities reestablished, and remembering that God, not my ego, is the center of reality. Whatever disciplines you take up for Lent, whether it's giving up sweets or alcohol, or you become intentional about your spiritual reading, or spending more time with your loved ones, or helping someone in need, it is about simplification and purification. During this unusual time in the wilderness that we find ourselves bonded by, what are you inviting to surrender during Lent? Are you open to trust God in the wilderness? Do you have a new perspective about life's priorities during this experience? These are all ongoing questions to ponder on during this downtime. Jerry Weber writes this interpretation of Psalm 46, and I hope that these words find you where you are, and also they encourage you. God, when all of life seems to be collapsing around us, you hold the center firm. When storms swirl in the outer world, you remind us of the inner realities that still our anxious hearts. There is then no reason to get worked up over disruptions in the world around us. Neither shaking earth, nor devastating winds, nor rising waters, nor unstable relationships will be able to move us from our true center in you, from living true to you. You walk with us. Your Spirit gives us strength. Your heart is the home of our deepest joy, and dwelling within your love, we will never be shaken. When we awaken to an uncertain world, the very dawn reminds us that you never stop coming to us. You speak into our hearts. Quiet yourself. Be still. Listen. Experience me as God of all. Even when the world is in disarray, when nations war and persons are at odds with each other, your voice thunders and reminds us that you stand over it all. You walk with us. Your Spirit gives us strength. Amen. Beloved, I want to leave you with these uplifting words to remind you that God's presence is among us. Trust the voice that calls you to the wilderness. Trust the Spirit that will keep you company in the wilderness. The love divine will equip you and care for you there. And when you come back, you'll be renewed and restored to be loved for the world. Shalom, beloved.